So if you want to think about what he looks like, it's a person, a large, stupid person, and his skin maybe is like a frog's skin. Okay? So then you have an image. They live near rivers and other wet places. Yeah. Alright. Some river trolls live under bridges, and they eat the people who try to cross. Yeah. Right? So, again, you gotta be careful. Some of them do. So others, maybe there aren't enough bridges. Some river trolls don't live there. But, yeah, they eat the people who try to go across the river. Keep going. River trolls are...
River trolls are very dangerous because they can be each thing they eat is very hard to hurt them because they go right away.
Yeah. So heal means... What does that word mean? I put the meaning there. That's another word that's not in this dictionary, but they feel better. If you try to hurt them, they feel better almost right away. That's what that word regenerate means, right? That's something else important to watch for. Whenever you're reading, if the writer is going to put in a special word, maybe if you're reading about history, he will talk about a country, and then he'll tell you where the country is, right? Or if you're reading about science, they might include a very difficult word, but then they might tell you what the word means. So always watch for that. So regenerate means river trolls are dangerous because they can regenerate. So if you try to hurt them, what happens? Like if a river troll wants to eat you, and you have a little knife, and you poke the river troll with your knife, what happens? Will he die? No, because wherever you stab him, the skin will heal, right? He'll feel better, like, very quickly. So, that's why they're very dangerous. Okay? Now, if you can think about this a bit further and ask some questions, then again, you put yourself more into the text. The first paragraph, the cave trolls, it tells us what you can do. If one of them catches you, then you just have to talk with him until the sun comes up. And then he'll die and you can get away. What about the river trolls? It doesn't tell us how to hurt them. So you could guess. If something likes to be wet, if something lives near the water, then what is it most afraid of? Like fish need to be in the water or they can't breathe. But even frogs, right? If they are away from the water, then they get dry. And if a frog is too dry, it will die, right? So how could you make them dry? I mean, you could take a towel and start rubbing their skin and try to, but they would probably eat you, right? So what kind of thing would they be afraid of? sun. If the sun shines too bright on them, then maybe they'll get dry. Okay. What's the opposite of water? In Chinese tradition, you also have this idea. There are what we call elements, right? They show the different parts of nature. There's the air and there's the earth. There's water and fire. Right?
Yeah.
Usually we have at least those four ideas. There's the air, right? The wind, the sky, and then there's the ground, the earth. And they're opposite, right? And then you also have water and fire, right? So if this creature likes to be wet, he will probably be afraid of fire, right? So there are things you can sort of ask yourself. Even if the story doesn't tell you, you can ask the question because it puts you into that world, right? And it doesn't matter what the story is about, if it's about monsters or science or, how to make your life better. If you can put yourself into the world that the writer is in, then you'll understand better what he's saying. So, okay. Keep reading, not all.
Not all trolls are evil, and in some stories, trolls are just friendly little
Creatures.
But be careful. By the time you find out if the troll is nice or not, it is usually too late.
Yeah. So, 懂我的意思吗？ We have to watch for those little words like not and all, because usually those words have a lot of meaning. Sometimes the little words, they're not as important, right? You know that in English we always need words like a or the. And usually if I say a book or the book, the main idea, the important meaning is book. 一个 book, yeah, 一本书还是这本书，那个一本跟这本没有那么重要的 right? 是那个书它是重要的意思 right? But sometimes those little words are still important. I didn't ask for any book, I want this book, right? But most of the time, those little words focus on the important ideas first, and then maybe look at the little ones. But there are some little words that are always important. Any word that says not, right? If part of the word has not at the beginning, like we had this one here, anything that starts with un or in, this can have different meanings, but there are a couple things where it's the opposite meaning, right? So that's always important to watch for. And if there's something that says all or some, again, that's important, because then we know you're talking about the whole thing, or the whole thing is like this, but this part is different. Right? So those are important words to watch for. So, not all trolls are evil. That means most of them are, right? But not all trolls are evil. So, don't want to... Okay, so some trolls are not evil, and in some stories, outside. Yeah. Little forest creatures.